Hey guys, so we're going to quickly talk about our third assignment. The first question was to separate the two buffers from simple color 3D. So if you can see, we have separated the buffers and provided them with the specific register values, and simply set those constant buffers in our initialization data. So we're just going to quickly run that, and we can see the cube being drawn properly. Heading on to the next part with a simple pyramid. So we have simply added the pyramid code. As you can see, this is the pyramid code triangle list that we have set, and we are, rather than initializing a box, we are initializing a unit pyramid, and we're just setting the context for that and just updating the world matrix values for those. So we're quickly gonna run that, and you can see that teeny tiny pyramid right there. Alright, so on to the next part is our multiple models. So for multiple models, we are just using 3 different world matrices and 2 different model pointers. 3 different world matrices for like 3 models that we're gonna provide, and we're gonna use 2 different models at a time. This also clarifies our first further work question as to we can use the single model if there's like same. If it's a box, then we just need to use one single pointer for those. The only thing that we need to keep separate is the world matrices. So we can see that we have a model 1 initialized right there and model 2 initialized with box and pyramid. And we are, for model 1, whenever we start and if we're gonna run a cube, we have to initialize the context, and then simply we have to render it 2 times with the different world matrices. And since we're changing the model, we have to set the context again and then render the model itself. So just going to run that code, and we can see there's a pyramid and 2 different cubes. Let's head on to the fourth one, is for 2 different shaders. So what we have done is we have used our simple color 3D and color selected, and I have created 4 different there's vertex shader pointer, the spatial shader, it's like 2 times, and we have 4 world matrices and 2 models. And for the buffers, since we are also adding a buffer for simple color, we're gonna use this buffer for the simple color and select it both separately. Since I'm using the new updated shader from the first question itself, so I'm just gonna pass on the world projection buffer. That's why I haven't duplicated that value right there. So we have 2 different for buffer selected and just a single world buffer right there. Now all we had to do is we have 2 vertex shaders compiled with the layout values provided in there. So this is all our vertex shaders up till here, and then same thing with the pixel shaders. We're not gonna set the shaders as we already have to do it every time we're gonna run the or draw the scene. So, and then we have this 3 constant buffers and the 4 world models. So what we're doing is, for the first one, it's a simple color 3D. We're just setting the constant buffer and say shader itself for vertex and pixel, and then drawing the two models right there, and then changing the shader to the color selected one, and then drawing the other 2 models. So let's just run the code, and we can see this one has a red color. These two are the color selected, and those one is simple color. Alright, for the fifth one, I have tried running through sphere, but I haven't had much luck with it because I didn't give much time to that. It was just my fault, I wasn't able to get onto that. For the shader class itself, so for the second further work question was for the shader class. Let's go to the first one. Since we already did that for a model we using just a single pointer, what's the advantage? Um, the advantage is that we don't have to handle multiple pointers if we are just using the same model every time. The only thing that we'll have to handle is the world matrices, so that it gives us it takes less space, and we don't have to take care of like constructors and destructor of the multiple of them. For the second part, that's a shader class, or what we can do is we can create a shader class, something like this, depending on what kind of shader. I'm not entirely sure yet, but this was just an idea. If something like that comes up to be, we can have a vertex shader and pixel shader and put layout and everything in there. And we can, when we're creating a shader, we can pass on the device file name so that it helps us create the shader, and then from the constructor itself we can create and compile the shader, and load the input layout based on that. The other one is the set shader, and what I was thinking was maybe set shader can be used as like a render thing itself. So this was the idea, like initial idea of how we can use the shader class itself. Uh, that was all for this week's assignment. We'll see about the sphere probably in the next week's class.